In the previous video, we saw how we can use a loop to add data to an array. Now we have an array that holds data. The array myNumbers holds 5 pieces of data, and this data is the double of the values that the variable counter takes on. So on every run, counter increases by 1, and we take that value and multiply it by 2 and store it in our array. So the array has 5 elements now. Now we will create a new loop so that we can print the values from the array. And we will use the counter variable again, but we have to reset it to 0 because now it has the value 5 since the last run, since the run of the first while loop. So now I will set the value of counter to 0, and I can create a new while loop where the condition is based on counter, but it is also based on the attribute length of the array. So we can use the length of the array to determine how many times we will run this code. So the while loop will run as long as counter is smaller than the length of my numbers. So we use the variable myNumbers and we call the attribute length on it. And this will give us the length of the array, which is 5 in this case. And now we use the console.log method to print the contents of myNumbers. Let me just spell this correctly, myNumbers. And we want to access the data in the array, so we have to use an index, and the index will be the variable counter, because the variable counter will take on exactly those values that we need for this array. It will go from 0 to 4, and it will increase by 1 on every run, and that is exactly the index we need. So let's make sure that counter will increase by 1 on every run. And now let's run this code. I save the file. I go over to the web browser and I load this file. And here we see the printout from the array. And we said that we store the value of counter multiplied by 2. So counter takes on the values 1, 2, 3, 4. And every time the loop runs, we multiply these and store them in the array. So that is why we have the value 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8.